So in this video, I'd like to break down 7 simple things that you can do to make running your personal training business more successful, more consistent, and ultimately more profitable. And this is based on over 15 years of actually working with real life clients face to face in the real world. Okay, so the first thing is systems, and there's a very good book out there that you can read on systems. It's called The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. Great book to read. He goes into a lot of detail talking about systems. Even if you're a one-man band, putting things in place to make your life a lot easier. Because look, business is challenging at the best of times, but if you've got systems in place, it's going to make it a whole lot easier in terms of they become more efficient, it'll become more less stressful and more profitable. So the sort of systems you're looking at putting in place are going to be how you attract your clients, how you convert your clients, and how you get your clients results. Because when you work with personal training clients and run a business, 80% of what you do is going to be repeat. You'll be doing it over and over and over again. So rather than reinventing the wheel every time you do the same process, just put a system in place for that and then tweak the 20% for individual clients. So that's the first thing. You want to think about putting systems in place. Okay, moving on to the second thing, simplicity. Look, again, running a business is a complicated thing, or it can become complicated. And if you want to scale it and make it bigger and better and get more clients, the simpler it is to begin with, the easier it is as it gets bigger, because even the simple things can become a bit complicated when you get bigger. And it's the way that I was able to grow my business from just me to actually having a team of personal trainers by, the systems and keeping things super simple. In terms of simplicity for when you're working with your clients, I used to keep the mind, because when you're working weight loss clients, there's 3 things you've got to cover: mindset, diet, and exercise. And I'll keep all those 3 areas super simple. I could have gone really deep on each of them because I'm training NLP, cognitive behavior therapy, I've got a nutritional qualification, I've got a degree in exercise rehabilitation. I could have gone really deep, but that would not have served the client. It would have only confused them. So whilst we have the knowledge, just cherry pick the bits that are most important, simplify and deliver that to your clients. You'll get way better results if you do it that way. Number 3 is honesty. Now, I can think of a situation where I had a client sat on a bike chatting about the fact that she hadn't lost the weight she wanted to lose and getting a little bit arsy about it, to be honest, in a nice sort of way. And I said, look, I've got to be honest with you, for you to get to where you want to get to, you're going to have to start putting yourself at the top of the list. And we had this conversation, and initially it didn't go particularly well. In fact, I could have lost her as a client, but I thought, well, I've got to be honest with her. I've got to tell her that she's not doing the things that she should be doing. Otherwise, I'm going to be kidding her on for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and she's not going to be getting results and paying me money for that. So it's bad for her, bad for my business, bad for my reputation. So we had this frank conversation. Thankfully, she took it on board, and she went on and not only lost the weight she wanted to lose, she actually became a fitness model, competed in the Miss Galaxy Universe competition, and placed 3rd in a category of women where she was 10 years senior to a lot of the other women in that category. So she was ahead and beating women who were 10 years her junior, all because I was able to have that honest conversation with her. Now, sometimes you can have that honest conversation and it can go really wrong. I can think of one situation where I had a client consultation, I had this normal procedure I go through, ask a few questions, and this lady was trying to speed me up and say, look, just get to how many sessions and how much. And I was like, with all due respect, but she just was not having it. So I stopped the consultation and said, look, with all due respect, I just don't think this is going to be the right program for you. Because I just could see that she would not have been a good fit for the program. And that didn't happen very often, to be fair. But when it did happen, I made it clear to people that, look, it's not going to be a great fit. So be honest with your clients. It will serve you well. And it'll keep the stress away. Because if you're dishonest and you've got people paying you money because you're telling them porkies, you will get found out at some point. So honesty is critical. Number 4 is consistency. What do I mean by consistency? Well, think about a McDonald's. Now, you may not like McDonald's, but think about why people go to McDonald's. Obviously, some people like the taste, which is great. That's up to them. But they know what they're getting. It's going to be a consistent service. The lighting, the seating, the cost of the products, how it tastes. It's all going to have a consistency to it. So how does that play into us as personal trainers? Well, consistency is going to be in terms of your timekeeping. Are you the sort of person that turns up on time every time? For me, I was always at least 10 minutes before my clients, minimum 10 minutes. At a push, sometimes 5, and very, very, very rarely, very, very occasionally, I might be late for a session, but you could count that literally, 1 or 2 over the space of years where I was late to get to see a client. So that's one aspect of consistency. The other one is your general demeanor, the way you show up to your sessions. You know, are you the sort of person that 1 minute you're really super high and then the next minute you're super low, and clients just don't know what the heck to expect when they turn up to see you? Just, you know, the best way to be consistent in terms of your attitude and how you show up is just be who you are. Don't try and be somebody else. Be who you are, and then it's super easy to turn up as yourself. Then the final one is I've put down dress. I think the way you show up in terms of a uniform. I used to wear like a uniform, you know, a certain colour top, certain types of trousers, and that's just how I showed up. I wouldn't be showing up one day in, you know, with a collar and short sleeves and, you know, a pretty decent sort of trainer's outfit, then the next day rocking up in, I don't know, Speedos and a singlet top with my guns out. You know, I just wouldn't do that, because again, the client wants to feel like they know what they're coming into and they're going to get that consistency from you. So that's important. Number 5 is charge like a pro. What do I mean by that? Well, if you charge really, really low prices, people will not take you seriously. And there's a saying, when people pay and they pay well, they pay more attention. And I would think that you could charge easily as much as the most expensive trainer out there selling a block of 10 if you are offering some sort of a package where you're offering 3, 6 or 12 months. And by the way, if you're interested in finding out how to create packages and all that sort of stuff, there's a link below this video. You can book in for a free strategy call with me where I can talk to you about, you know, attracting clients, converting clients, you know, getting great results for your clients by creating systems and packages. You know, find the link below and you can book in for a call with me. But yeah, charge like a professional. Don't undercharge, because not only will you put people off from actually signing up with you, you'll start to resent it because you feel as though you're putting in all this good work and all these great results, but you're not being paid what you think you're worth. So definitely charge like a professional. And the last one is marketing. Well, last but one is marketing. Marketing is like critical. It's something that I've got to be honest, I didn't always stick to religiously. You know, there were times, like a lot of us out there, I guess, when you've got a lot of work coming in, you tend to take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and that's really bad, because what happens is, as clients drop off, if you're not replacing them, then you can start to see your income drop. But if you're continually marketing, you could get to a point whereby, as I did, you build a waiting list. That's why I had to build a team of trainers, because I simply didn't have enough time for what I had available. I'm not saying that I was working flat out, it's just that I had other things I wanted to do, like, you know, get on the tennis court, hit some tennis balls with my son. So I wasn't prepared to work, you know, more than sort of in the beginning 30-35 hours contact time with clients. After that, it was like, that's enough for me. I've got to be on the court with my son and doing other things. But you need to be marketing on a regular basis. So, you know, find out what your preferred method of marketing is and build that into some sort of a system, going all the way back to what I said in the beginning. Build it into some sort of marketing system. And when you think about marketing, marketing isn't about trying to get people to get on the phone so you can sell to them. Really, I think it was Daniel Priestley that said this, really your main objective with marketing is just to get people to raise a hand to say, you know what, I'm interested in what you've got to offer, and then somehow trying to capture their details, typically a name and an email, so you can then start to develop that relationship through automated emails that you can send out to give them education, and then occasionally put an offer in there to get them to give you a call. And then the 7th thing that I learned that's going to help your personal training business over time is getting testimonials. And I'm still surprised at how few personal trainers have good testimonials, which is a real shame, because, you know, if you've done some good work and got some great results, you should be showcasing that, because by showcasing your results, from, in my case, a weight loss coach, it simply meant when somebody got on the phone with me, having seen the stuff on my website, on my YouTube channel or social media, they already know that this guy gets results, and it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you before you even get on the call. And if you're on the call and you qualify people properly for a second consultation, by the time they're in front of you, the chances are that 80% sold before they even step into your facility. So again, if you are interested in finding out more about how you can learn how to attract clients, convert clients, get great client results, if you know all this stuff is of interest to you, but you're a little bit confused about it all, click the link below and let's book in for a free strategy call where I can help you move the needle on your business in that one call. It's not a sales pitch, anything like that. It's genuine one-to-one coaching where you'll walk away with something that you can actually use at the end of the call.